Hello everybody, John Swell back here again with another video, and I'm here to give you my official review for Supergirl Episode 4 titled Livewire. Now, of course, if you haven't seen this episode, please go check it out because this review may contain spoilers. But that being said, let's get into CBS's Supergirl. Now, before I get into the episode, there are specific words that can explain how I feel about this episode, which is cheesy, wacky, TV, and drama. Those four words basically explain how I feel about this particular episode, because it's freaking cheesy, it's freaking wacky, there's a lot of TV-isms, and it's a Greg Berlanti show, so expect a lot of drama. This episode is so weird. I don't know. It's almost laughable on how weird it is, but I don't know if that's a good thing or a negative thing. I just really don't know at this point in time. I have to watch it a couple more times to really get the extent of where they were going with this episode, but God, is it wacky. Number one, it's Thanksgiving. This is the Thanksgiving episode that I guess all of us were expecting. They didn't really do a Halloween-y episode, so I don't really know what's going on with that, but overall, I thought it was alright for them trying to do a Thanksgiving, a holiday episode, if you will. Flash has done it in the past, Arrow has kind of done it in the past, so I can understand why CBS Supergirl would want to do the same, although I just feel it's kind of weird. But at the end of the day, it was really nicely done. I really appreciated how they didn't really do an make it like the main focus of the episode like other TV shows. They kind of made it like an under the radar kind of a setup where it just so happens to be Thanksgiving. Like Kara makes it like a Friendsgiving, like that's what she kind of calls it. Because considering she is a foster child, so it's kind of hilarious. You have this kind of subplot with Kara's foster mother, like, not really, being in love with the idea of Supergirl being a thing, and not to mention her anger for Kara's sister for letting her do these kind of things. Alex is kind of pissed off at her mom, all that kind of wacky stuff, which I feel was handled pretty decently. I actually had to admit that even though this episode did borderline a little too far with the TV dramatics, I feel like the relationship between Kara, her mother, and Alex, and all that kind of wacky stuff was definitely well done. I feel like amongst the many TV dramatics and relationship statuses that the CBS and Greg Berlanti have tried to develop for the show, that was pretty well done. Although I will have to admit, the sequence with the R&B music and the darkness and the candles was a little too much for my taste. I'm just saying, like, that's not a setup for a mother-daughter talk. That's a setup for a sex scene in a comedy movie. I'm just saying, that's just my personal opinion. But that being thrown aside, the big part of the episode is the villain of the week, Livewire. She gets top billings, hence the title of the episode. But I'm not a big fan. Here's the thing. If you've seen Sony's Amazing Spider-Man 2, then you know what Livewire is in this particular episode. She's essentially Electro. She is Electro. And she has zero purpose. She doesn't make any sense, and I hate to use the pun, but her overall purpose is to have a cat fight. Yeah, I'm sorry for using that analogy and pun, but it's true. It's a basic cat fight. It's a girl who hates another girl because of some kind of bad blood. It's like watching a Taylor Swift music video and some kind of on TV. It's just weird. It's just like, villains have to have a purpose. Your stories is only as good as your villain. And if your villain sucks, then what the hell are you rooting for the hero to do? There's no real danger. There's no real significant, life-changing experience with any kind of character, with the exception of the Kara foster mother visiting Thanksgiving kind of scenario. But over here, in the superhero genre, there's nothing. There's not really anything there. And, I just have a lot of problems with it, because it's the same problems that Sony had when they were developing Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is like, how do you stop a villain like that? How do you realize a villain like that when you give him like these super-powered Dr. Manhattan-like abilities, these OP abilities? It's like, and then you throw in like an Ultron reference there where it's like, now she's sucked into the internet and she's everywhere at once, or whatever the fuck. It's just, how do you do that on a TV budget, and how do you make that uninteresting? it's just so wacky. Like, once again, just very, very wacky. It's just so weird. And the actress who played her, I felt like she was alright. Her introduction was nice. I liked the radio station sequence. I thought it was funny, like, how CBS was kind of like, the writers were kind of make her feel like a troll, where she's, like, trolling on Supergirl. It kind of, like, and I liked how, Kara's freaking best buddy dude, who I'm completely spacing out on his name, but you know, the dude who loves her but doesn't love, you know, him back, but whatever. I liked how pissed off he was getting, because that's how I kind of, like, that's me, like, when I hear someone bashing, like, Dragon Ball Z, it's like, why yada, you know. I thought it was kind of funny how they threw that in, but then they kind of ruin it, where they try to make her the main villain of the episode, where it's like, oh, you know, don't talk about Supergirl, because that's my thing, Cat Grant kind of bullshit, and then it's like, you know, just for that, I'm gonna make you work on a helicopter. It's like, what the hell are you doing here? You're not a villain. You're just at the wrong place at the wrong time, who just happened to get some abilities. Why are you being a villain? Yeah, she's a bitch. Yes, she's a cunt. Yes, she's an asshole. But she made you do a job. She's your boss. I mean, of course she's going to do something that's kind of negative towards you. But why go through all this trouble? And plus, on top of that, there are so many instances in this episode where, you know, Livewire has the chance to take out Cat Grant, which I would have loved to have seen, because I'm not really the biggest Cat Grant fan, but just why? Just take her out there. You have the chance. There are so many openings, it's laughable. It's literally laughable. And that's another thing that's very laughable, the dialogue in this episode. It's so cheesy and funny, I don't know if it's positive, because it's so wacky and cheesy. It's just hilarious on the dialogue. It's so badly written that I just don't know if it's, like, meant to be badly written to make you laugh, or just it's so badly written it just makes me laugh. I just don't know what's the difference. But the dialogue was just terrible. The villain was terrible. The only thing that was really good was just the Thanksgiving dinner, the inner turmoil between the sisters and the mother, the whole flashback sequences with Dean Cain, which I really enjoyed, because, you know, I was wondering for a second there, which is, where's Dean Cain in this show? Why isn't he a part of this Thanksgiving dinner? What is he all about? And apparently, spoilers, but through flashbacks, Dean Cain is actually dead, because he joined the DOO, or whatever the frack that freaking secret society of alien catchers want to call themselves. Apparently he joined them and then died for some god-awful reason. Or did he? I don't know. I get the feeling after watching that sequence where Kara's mother is explaining to her and her sister about the Dean Cain situation, about their father or what have you. I felt like they were going to do, like, I get the feeling, this isn't confirmed or anything, but I get the feeling, my speculation, that CBS is going for, like, an Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like, alternate ending Sony Amazing Spider-Man 2 kind of deal, where it's like, you thought he was dead, but now he's back. He was never dead, or he's a clone, you know? I just get because we're not gonna, that's not the last time we're gonna see Dean Cain. Now, whether it's just strictly for flashbacks, I don't know yet, but I get the feeling we're definitely gonna see Dean Cain again, which I think was pretty cool to see him at all in this episode and actually hear him talk. I thought it was freaking great, because I like Dean Cain. I think he's an alright dude. I think he's an alright actor, and obviously for nostalgia purposes, it was really nice to see him do some stuff in this show, and also it was kind of funny to see him cross his arms and stuff, because for those of you who don't know, Dean Cain actually played Superman at one point, which was hilarious. But at the end of the day, this episode gets a solid 5 out of me. And the only real reason I give my final verdict is a solid 5 is mostly due to the fact that I really enjoyed the Thanksgiving dinner, which is saying a lot because I don't really like Thanksgiving, but I liked that they put it in there and how they utilized it. But I also liked the dialogue between Kara's mother and her sisters. I liked how, like, there was, like, this really inner, like, sister hatred, you know, where it's like, you always treated her nice, but you always treated, like, me like shit. Why? Is it because she's the golden child or whatever? Like, there's a lot of cool, interesting stuff like that that people can relate with when one sibling is, like, you know, the golden child, like, the one who get, you know, the person on top, and, like, you're always getting, like, the bad end of the stick. Like, I can relate to that, and I think a lot of people can relate to that for not being the best and not getting the full approval from your respected mothers or, you know, parents or whatever. So I thought it was really nice how they approached it and not overly dramatize it for a TV audience. I think it was appropriate for the way they used it. the way they utilized it. Although I will admit, the scene with the candles and the music was a little too much for my taste. I think that was really cheesy and dumb, but I did enjoy it overall. And plus, you know, it opens up a whole nother situation, which is obviously, what is the DOO really? What are they really doing? What's up with that freaking guy with the, you know, with the crazy red eyes? Like, what is he really up to? Is he the main villain? Is he like an evil Kryptonian or some said shit? There's just a lot of really wacky stuff. But if there is one thing that I really enjoyed overall in this episode, number one, the setup to the triangle of relationships, but particularly the one voice we have not heard from that we really needed, which is Kara's best friend buddy dude. I forget his name, but his character, we got some depth with him, and we got to get some tone from him and his personal interest in why he's here in the first place, which I really enjoyed, because we got that with James previously. Now it's time for him, and we got that. We get to hear some of his backstory, his father, why his family's not around, why it's so important to be best friends with Kara, how much he really loves her. That was some very interesting stuff that I really like. I feel like it was kind of ruined when, you know, he kind of walks away and James Olsen, suave from James Olsen. I got a watch. I got Superman on speed, you know, that dumbass watch. Yeah, like, he comes in and kind of ruins it to a certain extent, but I like that because it just opens up this triangle and gives it a little bit more depth, unlike just like where it's just Kara's point of view, because it's not really her point of view. She's kind of one-sided at this point, but now that one-sided is over, because now you have another side, which is this guy. You get his kind of point of view, which is he doesn't really have anybody, and being friends with her is the most important thing in the world to him. But then you have Kara, who's super in love with James because he's good looking. I'm suave. I'm James Olsen. I came here to save you because Superman told me to, because I'm a fanboy. You know, like, you have that kind of point of view. But I like that. I enjoyed that we didn't just have James Olsen, like, shoehorned in throughout this episode. We got to see him kind of do his own stuff and actually have something to say, because he's kind of just the comedic goofball Cisco of like, butt of the jokes kind of a character on the show. But no, now he has some tone, now he has some depth, now we understand why he's important, and I like that. So, because of those specific reasons, because of the Thanksgiving thing, because of the flashbacks with Dean Cain, and because of the overall relationship status between Kara and Alex and, you know, the foster mother, I give it a 5. It's an average episode, it's a good episode, not the best episode thus far. I still feel episode 2 and episode 1 are better, and episode 3, that Superman sequence, just fucking destroyed. But overall, it was a decent episode. It was okay. The villain sucked, this dialogue sucked, and some certain sequences were not well perfected, but overall I think it was okay, and I think it was decent. It's definitely a very watchable episode. I can definitely say that. But overall, that's been my personal thoughts. My final verdict is a 5 out of 10. But let me know what your personal thoughts are in the comment section below. What did you think about this episode? What do you think about the relationship status between Kara, James, and her best friend guy dude? What do you think your personal thoughts are on the future of Dean Cain's character? How is Kara and Alex going to find out, you know, what really happened to him? And what are your personal thoughts overall with the DOO? What is their intentions? Like, are they working with the evil Kryptonians? Is he evil Kryptonian? Or, you know, what did they do with freaking Dean Cain? I want to know. And I want to know your personal thoughts on that topic as well. So comment below. Let me know what you personally think. But at the end of the day, follow me on Twitter and Instagram, @Jonch12. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I hope you guys enjoyed, and this has been Jonch12.